Did it open up or not?
It's recording there.
Reach out to one of the team members to see if they're able to get in.
Yeah, there.
Oh, they are okay. I thought you were saying you could get in.
I've got 40. Coming almost up on 60 right now.
You go.
You can just give me the signal whenever you're ready. Okay. Awesome. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Understanding Kentucky's Target Markets. We're so excited that you can join us today for this webinar series. This is our fourth installment, and so far we've seen Annie Franklin present our food and beverage sector. We've had Brooklyn Leak touch on our automotive sector, and then most recently, Andy Lutner in our metals section. So today we're going to be talking about healthcare. I mean, this healthcare sector is a great target market for Kentucky. We're already doing big things in this healthcare sector, and we're leading the way in some innovation. So as you all join in, please feel free to grab pen and paper, take notes. I challenge you all to think critically of how your community can be a part of this healthcare sector and also continue to grow Kentucky's economy. So I'm excited that you all can join. And I want to introduce myself to those of you who may not know me. My name is Martin David Jacobs. I'm your healthcare target market specialist. I also focus in the capacity of a regional development project manager for the Kentuckiana Works and Lincoln Trail region. So a little bit about my professional experience. I spent some time working at the VA hospital in Louisville, Kentucky. I also did staffing and recruiting in Lexington, Kentucky. And all of that experience has led me here today to Frankfort, Kentucky, the wonderful city of Frankfort, where again, I get to help lead the Commonwealth in this healthcare sector. So again, I hope you all feel free to ask questions, tune in, and we're gonna move forward and take a look at some of the trends in this healthcare sector. So one of the first trends that I would like to highlight is that the healthcare industry is less affected by economic downturns. During this COVID-19 pandemic, we saw automotive manufacturing go to a halt. We saw sales and retail almost stop, and then even school systems and universities being shut down. But one thing that we didn't see is that the healthcare industry was affected. We saw an increase in sales of medical devices, medical manufacturing, and even equipment. And of course, distribution for healthcare products and pharmaceutical sales were all up during this COVID-19 pandemic. The healthcare industry is not affected. It actually thrives on pandemics. Another trend that we see is the age and global population will always create an opportunity in this healthcare industry. We may have family members or friends who use cardiovascular devices or even at-home monitoring kits for chronic illnesses. I think about joint replacement products. These things are always going to be in high demand, and they're always in need for innovation and retooling to make it better. And when we think about innovation, a third trend that we most commonly see in this healthcare sector is that universities and colleges are collaborating with large pharmaceutical companies to create pharmaceutical drugs and even medical equipment that's going to be offered for the next clinical testing. Innovation in the healthcare sector in almost any industry is always going to be important, retooling and making things better. Now, here in Kentucky, we've seen a lot of innovation in retooling, such as UPS, retooling their facility to produce freezer space, cold freezer space to store a potential COVID-19 vaccine. We've also seen ED Bullard producing large covered visors and other PPE equipment. These trends, these four trends are always following the healthcare industry and sector, and they make sure that we can continue to keep moving this forward. Now let's take a look at healthcare from a global perspective. The World Healthcare Organization reported that 7.5 trillion is spent annually in this sector. I mean, that's a lot of money, you all. Revenue in major healthcare products are medical equipment and surgical instruments that account for 55%. We have medical supplies, which account for about 25%. We even have orthopedics and prosthetic appliances, that is 10%. And then we have laboratory equipment, even down to dental and veterinary equipment. They all play a major part in this healthcare sector and healthcare spending. On our pharmaceutical side, the annual worldwide revenue for pharmaceutical manufacturing is 1.1 trillion. Now, this number is expected to reach 1.4 trillion by the year 2022. And guess what? This was all reported before the COVID-19 pandemic. So you can imagine how these numbers are going to continue to increase, and this industry is going to continue to grow. Now, that's a global perspective. Let's check out the healthcare sector in the United States strengths. Today, the total national healthcare expenditures in the United States alone are at 3.5 trillion, reported by the CDC.gov. And something you all should be proud of is that the United States remains the largest medical device market in the world, bringing in over 156 billion as reported in 2019. Now, I was thinking, and I know you all may be thinking, if you're in a large city or even a rural community, how can you capitalize on this healthcare industry? How can we take part in some of that 3.5 trillion that's being spent? Well, here in Kentucky, we want to focus on our Kentucky's Healthcare Core 4. Our Core 4 include pharmaceutical and medicine manufacturing. We also have medical equipment and supplies. We have medical device manufacturing, and of course, healthcare products distribution. Focusing on these core four will continue to produce great economic wealth here in the Commonwealth. Let's take a closer look at our core four. First up, we have pharmaceutical manufacturing. Now, the US is currently the largest global market for pharmaceuticals, and 80% of revenue is produced in the US coming from large pharmaceutical companies. Now, this doesn't mean you have to recruit or land a large pharmaceutical manufacturer in your community. We can use the trends and focus on research and development, which account for 75 billion annually. So why don't you focus on using your educational institutions to do research and development, to attract pharmaceutical companies, or even be a part of clinical testings in your local area? This will be a great part in strengthening Kentucky's pharmaceutical manufacturing. And then another key point that I thought was interesting is 40% of pharmaceutical drugs are imported into the United States annually. So if we can play a part in manufacturing or even doing research and development, we can cut down on some of that 40% that is being imported. Let's take a look at the next two in our core four. We have medical equipment and medical device manufacturers. In 2019 alone, the medical device manufacturing market was valued at 156 billion. And again, we see that this number is expected to increase to 208 billion by the year 2023. Medical equipment and supplies alone account for 350 billion of US revenue. Now, I begin to wonder, how can this industry continue to grow at such rapid pace? How can this industry continue to grow during a crisis and people are out of their jobs? Well, it's simple. The demand is tied to patients receiving medical treatment and the need for rapid delivery of medical equipment. And that brings us to our fourth point of our core four. That's healthcare products distribution. Demand has always created a great opportunity for healthcare products distribution, especially here in Kentucky. It allows us to capitalize on our logistical strengths. Here in Kentucky, we have over 180 aluminum-related and manufacturing facilities. These facilities can produce lightweight, temperature-resistant, temperature-controlled materials that can be easily transported and shipped in an expedited manner. Also here in Kentucky, we have 200 facilities that manufacture plastic and rubber products. This also is a key portion in the healthcare sector. Some of the plastic and rubber products can be used for crutches. We have plastics for pharmaceutical wrapping. And then we have nearly 82 paper product manufacturing facilities that can produce high demand, high disposable products. Even the labeling on IV bags, or again, pharmaceutical companies always are in need of paper products. So that's our core four. Now, when we focus on this healthcare industry where there's so much room for growth, there's always going to be challenges or oppositions. Some of the challenges that you may face in the healthcare industry is that it's a heavily regulated industry. Whether you're manufacturing or producing or even supplying pharmaceuticals or healthcare equipment stuff, you can count on your facility to be heavily inspected by the FDA and other agencies. Maintaining stringent quality control is always going to be important, whether it's pharmaceuticals or medical device manufacturing. And then a common challenge that we really felt firsthand during this COVID-19 pandemic is that the US is heavily reliant on China and other countries for our medical supply chain. We had to import nearly 48% of masks and other personal protective equipment, and then nearly 40% for medical devices. And the US alone imports $5 billion annually from India just in pharmaceutical drugs. Now, these challenges are common, and most states face these challenges today. But where there's challenges, I believe that Kentucky's prime and ready to offer solutions. Kentucky's healthcare industry is diverse and well positioned for growth. Since 2014 alone, you all, we've had 98 new or expanded facilities that have announced investments totaling over $555 million. It's a great job here in the Commonwealth. We have nearly 200 healthcare-related facilities employing close to 40,000 workers, so we have a strong workforce. Medical equipment and supplies, and even pharmaceutical manufacturing contribute nearly $532 million annually to Kentucky's economy. And then something I know Louisville is proud of, and we all should be proud of, is that they have the largest concentration of lifelong wellness and aging care companies in the nation. So Kentucky's leading this standard in this healthcare industry. And the reason why we're so good, it's not based on UK basketball or U of L basketball. We have our educational strengths with the University of Kentucky. They have their Department of Biomed Engineering. The University of Louisville with their JB Speed School of Engineering. We have the University of Pikeville, Sullivan University, and my alma mater, Kentucky State University, with their School of Nursing and Health Sciences. Now, this slide only highlights half or even some of Kentucky's educational strengths. Don't forget, we have JCTCS and other private colleges that are strengthening Kentucky's case in this healthcare industry sector. And the reason why companies are coming to Kentucky is not just our good bourbon or good basketball. We have major healthcare companies already located here in Kentucky. We have 6 top healthcare companies that are headquartered. We have Humana Healthcare, Kindred Healthcare, Baptist Health, and on our pharmaceutical side, we have Catalent Pharmaceuticals, Amnio Pharmaceuticals, and then I even think of companies like Summit Biosciences and Kentucky Bioprocessing. These companies are major players in the healthcare sector, and they chose to locate right here in Kentucky due to our strengths. And guess what? Where there's a need for rapid medical device delivery and even pharmaceutical sales, Kentucky is centrally located. This is important because we're within a day's drive of 2/3 of the US population. Now, I know you all have seen this slide before, but think to yourself, why does this become important in an industry where we needed respirators or we need medical equipment or medical beds delivered fast? Kentucky's within a 2-hour flight of some of the nation's largest cities. We can get products to and from Kentucky, state to state, like no other. But guess what? We don't even just support the United States. We have a global logistics capacity. We have DHL that handles about 90% of shipments entering in the United States. Business is good for FedEx as they recently expanded their Louisville and Northern Kentucky ground facilities. We have the UPS Worldport Hub, which is the largest fully automated package handling facility in the world. And of course, I know you all like your Amazon Prime packages, even delivering on Sundays. When they're fully operational, they'll have over 100 planes delivering products daily. So this is a key and also a strength where we can outclass our competition, not only in the United States, but across the world. Kentucky is already leading the way in this healthcare industry. And since I touched on competition, some of our competitors for top manufacturing medical equipment and even supplies by employment include California, Florida, Indiana, which is one of our neighbors. We have Minnesota and Texas. Some of these states are large competitors due to their close proximity to large educational systems. They're relying on research and development to fuel their manufacturing competitiveness or even their relevancy. So again, here in Kentucky, the way that we outclass the competition is focusing on our educational strengths, but also just the cost of doing business. I mean, this slide always blows my mind. Kentucky's cost of living is 30% below the national average. And on industrial electricity rates, we're 21% lower than any state east of the Mississippi River. And as you see, some of our competitors, California, Indiana, Illinois, and Ohio, we're outclassing the competition in the cost of doing business. So again, it's important to stick to our strengths in this healthcare industry sector, sell what works, sell the truth about Kentucky. I myself am a California native, but I chose to locate here in Kentucky and even continue to grow and do business here in Kentucky. Now I want to get into some real life examples where we have healthcare companies and healthcare industry experts leading the way. First up, we have Avanti Healthcare Solutions. Avanti is a one-source equipment solutions facility that specializes in refurbished equipment, equipment sales, equipment repair, paint, and of course, distribution and logistics. Avanti covers all 4 levels of our core 4. And don't think that they're a major company. They just have 100 employees serving over 150 countries. So they're not big in size, but they make a great impact. It was easy to see when I visited their Center of Excellence, where companies come in from all over the nation to not only test, but see and also touch all these healthcare equipment products that they have here. So Avanti is bringing in customers and clients from all across the nation, over 150 countries. Great job, Avanti. On our pharmaceutical side, we have Amnio Pharmaceuticals. Now, Amnio is the 6th largest generic manufacturer of pharmaceuticals in the world. Again, they're the 6th largest, and they're located right here in Kentucky. In 2019, they produced over 1.3 billion in annual sales. And they have 3 facilities all here located in Barron County. Their strategy for growth, of course, is acquiring other pharmaceutical companies, but they're harping in on logistics and distribution. That's the 4th section of our core 4. They're leading the way by gaining more network referrals, and something that we all should take note of is they're targeting pharmaceutical-related companies in high cost and high regulation states. That's a key and a recipe for success. Now, they didn't start off big, In 2007, they had just 6 employees, and now they're up to over 160 employees. That's a great job recruiting and also focusing on high cost and high regulation states. They're bringing business here to Kentucky. Now, this example is something that's really interesting. You don't have to land a large manufacturer or even be in a large community. Sometimes we're in a rural community where our largest employer can either be your local hospital or maybe even the school system. Rockcastle Regional Hospital, located in Rockcastle County, is the largest employer with over 850 total staff members. In the past 2 years alone, they've added over 150 employees. And guess what? When the COVID-19 pandemic struck, everyone was reaching out to Rockcastle Regional because they have a 93-bed ventilator facility. So when there was a ventilator shortage, when they were looking for expertise, the expertise is located right here in Kentucky. And guess what? They received nationwide referrals, and they didn't stop there. They diversified their business, including chemotherapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and even retail pharmacy. So they've taken what they were great at, and then they've made it niche, and they've also now diversified their skill set with the new companies that they're connecting with. And then Rockcastle also does a great job of focusing on regionalism. They created strong partnerships with the University of Kentucky's Medical Center to host advanced specialty medical clinics locally, so the people in their community can receive the knowledge on how to take this healthcare sector to the next level. And of course, training. They're providing training through their e-learning system. So they're not getting complacent, and they're continuing to grow as this healthcare industry grows. Great job, Rockcastle Regional. Now, we've talked about some of the companies that we've had here in Kentucky and why this target market is continually good and why it's growing. Let's look at some of the site criteria. Real estate is going to be important when recruiting manufacturing or pharmaceuticals or any healthcare company. Site criteria will often include distribution facility requirements. You'll have to have unique designs and, of course, security and specialty layouts to adhere to FDA regulations. So real estate is very important when recruiting or talking to manufacturing companies in this healthcare space. Utilities, that's a big one everywhere. And of course, we've already armed you, saying that Kentucky has the lowest electricity rates in the nation, 20%, 21% lower than any company, any state east of the Mississippi River. So companies engaged in manufacturing activity rely on electricity, natural gas, water, and sewer. So if you have any sites or even buildings that have these utilities, get them going, get them listed on our sites. They're top in recruiting healthcare companies. And of course, suppliers. Everyone has them and everyone needs them. The availability of suppliers is so important. Now, they don't have to be a major supplier. In the United States, suppliers are typically comprised of small and medium-sized operations. So if you can't land the big win, the big whale company, target a supplier to produce well for Kentucky. And of course, talent, which I believe here in the Commonwealth, we have a lot of. Talent and relying on our educational systems to recruit top manufacturing companies based on our degree programs and cost of living is always important in this healthcare industry sector. Now, when we talked about workforce and talent, I wanted to highlight the top 10 occupations for medical equipment and pharmaceutical manufacturing. Here in Kentucky, we're extremely blessed where our workforce is easily transitionable from our automotive strengths to our food and beverage strengths. I mean, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. In automotive, we have a lot of production operators. We have material moving workers. That easily transitions to medical equipment. We have over 92,000 in material moving workers. That screams distribution and logistics. That's one of our top strengths. On our pharmaceutical side, we have sales representatives, we have chemical equipment operators, and even testers. That's key in the pharmaceutical strengths. In food and beverage, We have companies, I think about Ragu in Owensboro, and we have major companies that we can transition our food strengths right into pharmaceutical manufacturing. And don't forget our plastics and rubber facilities. Our workforce is primed and ready to take on this healthcare sector. Now, don't feel like you have to do it alone. You don't have to brace this healthcare industry sector all by yourself. We have a ton of companies that can help you. We have KCTCS, we have Kentucky Career Centers, and we even have Lindsay Ransdale with the Education and Workforce Cabinet. They can help you with recruitment and job placement strategies. They'll provide you customized training and even skills development courses. And of course, my employer, the Kentucky Cabinet for Economic Development, we offer our incentive programs led by Commissioner Katie Smith. We have Jenny Schenkenfelder, who is our Zoom Prosper expert and our sites and building coordinator. We have Matt Tackett with the PDI initiative. And then I even think about experts, industry experts. We have our environmental cabinet with Carrie Johnson. She's a great resource whether you're thinking about permitting or what environmental impacts. And then we have our research team led by Christopher Schneider, who can give you all the insight into this healthcare sector. So you do not have to do it alone. The Kentucky Economic Cabinet is here to help you. Now, in closing, remember how to recruit these companies. We're going to focus on our healthcare core four. That includes pharmaceutical, medical equipment, medical device and distribution, and always highlight your community's healthcare resources. List and market your former medical grade buildings in your community. Give those buildings to Jenny. If you have any clean space or clean rooms, those are important when recruiting pharmaceutical companies. Use business testimonials to highlight your region's workforce strengths. Again, highlight if you have an automotive manufacturer, maybe they did have a layoff, but those workers are ready and they're willing to go to work, embrace this healthcare market that's continually growing. And contact your industry experts. Use your educational systems and local healthcare experts. This includes local clinics, local hospitals, and of course your university systems. And then leverage your community partnerships with local industries. I think about Henderson County and how they leverage their plastic and rubber facilities. They're using that to market to their local hospital, even creating business opportunities locally. They're using their current manufacturing facilities as an entry point. And then even connect with great industry resources, such as Tammy York at the Louisville Healthcare CEO Council. This is a CEO council that's comprised of 12 top healthcare CEOs and executives that's thinking creatively about how Kentucky can move forward. They've had major projects in the work, and they're recruiting companies behind the scenes that we don't even know about. This screams opportunity. So again, feel comfortable to reach out to me and any of the project managers here at the cabinet. Reach out to your local educational systems. Allow us to partner in recruiting and taking over this healthcare space. So that concludes our presentation. I think we're open for question and answers if we have any questions over there. It looks like we don't have any questions. Again, we're so excited that you all can join. Remember that Kentucky is already leading the way. Focus on Louisville with their leading nations of healthcare and aging care. Focus on your pharmaceutical companies. Use research and development to recruit any type of healthcare industry. We're so excited that you can join, and please feel free to share this presentation. And again, I would encourage you all to review the previous presentations, as our fellow project managers did a great job. Thank you all, and have a blessed day.